And a pleasant Friday, and welcome to Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie. On maybe Black Eyed Susan Day, they were supposed to run that race at Pimlico day before the Preakness, but first they had to shelter in place because of the weather, and it wiped out their entire TV signal. Then they put odds up and said we're delayed, and that was before the Black Eyed Susan. So we'll see if they're able to get that in today. Of course, Pimlico does not have lights, unlike Churchill. Plus, I mean, you can only delay a race so long, even though that's a non-Lasix race still. I mean, you can only delay a race so long.
Right. There's only so long that people can wait
even
for it.
Even if you had lights, you couldn't wait until 10 o'clock in the evening, even though the handle might be unbelievable if you did that.
That's true.
So nonetheless, if they run it tomorrow or whatever, I'm sure they'll run it. But speaking of which, if you're here tonight, if you're viewing us on track, you can advance wager on tomorrow's Preakness Day card, when we'll have, as usual, 1:35 post for our live racing, and we'll bring in the Preakness later on in the card.
Yeah, I think it's going to start right about 6 o'clock tomorrow evening.
Similar schedule to the Derby.
Yeah, pretty much. But like Jim said, if you can't get out here tomorrow, you can make your advance wagers out here tonight, and hopefully have some good luck rolling into the Pimlico card tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
We are warm and humid here, cloudy, a little rumble of thunder here and there. Not really raining yet to speak of, so it's not really in the forecast, although there's a chance. But hopefully that won't affect us. We're fast and firm right now. Let's get on with our analysis and our selections for today's 8-race card. Opening race, happen to draw fillies and mares. It's written for 3-year-olds and up, but it's all older runners. 6.5 furlongs. These are non-winners of 3 lifetime, and they're in for a $7,500 price tag.
So I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice in this opener. Take one that's currently on the board at 12-1. That's your number 6, Courageous Cap'n. So, you know, this is a $7,500 claiming race. If you look, this horse has been running above that level. Last time, ran for $15,000, was beaten by 6 lengths in that one. Didn't have a very good race before that, finishing 9th by 9 3/4 in that one there. But, you know, both those were tough races. Oaklawn Park, one of them was a starter race. But then if you take a look before that, I mean, this horse ran well in some $10,000 claimers at Remington Park last year. The first race at Oaklawn back in February was pretty decent for Courageous Cap'n this year, just missing by half a length. I think dropping down here for $7,500 is going to do nothing but help this horse out. Horse has a fairly good record out here at Lone Star Park. Doesn't have those wins out of 4 tries, but has hit the board in 3 of those 4 races. Go ahead and give me this 12-1 horse on top to start it off. Number 3, Perceptive. That's going to be my second choice, your top choice. I'll let you touch on that one. And then I've got number 1, Sweet Charlize, as my third choice. I mean, this horse was a winner last time by 4.5. Got a good jockey in Ramon Vasquez aboard. We'll see if that race last time was a fluke or this horse can do something pretty similar again, but it's taking a small step up in class from that $5,000 to $7,500 tonight.
Yeah, Abel Ramirez, Rodriguez, and Carl Broberg claimed this filly, Sweet Charlize, back in February. Claimed her for $20,000, and then they immediately put her in a beaten claiming race for $10,000, ran nowhere. Then they brought her here, dropped her all the way to the $5,000 level. We don't run any lower than that. And she was actually, they took her to Evangeline, dropped her to $10,000 beaten, dropped her to $5,000, and she finally won at Evangeline. Heavily favored. I don't know. I got to think that wasn't a very good field that she was beaten at Evangeline. Now she faces non-3s after a race where she was asked a bit, even though she won convincingly. I'm going to try to beat her. I have got her second, but I am taking Perceptive. Nothing really overwhelmingly creative about Perceptive's pick, but she turns back from a mile. She might like this slightly longer than normal sprint at 6.5 furlongs. Has never contested it before. J.R. Caldwell got a win out of her in week 2 of the meet, and it was just a cruising win. It was a very nice win for her. Hopefully she won't bounce off of that, as she did come back off a little mini layoff for that performance. Caldwell's good at keeping them going well, so I'm going to take Perceptive. On the turn back to a sprint, but that's the level where, you know, they don't always repeat their performances.
Right.
Race 2. On the grass, mile 1/16. We do have one scratch out of here. Number 1, King Adolis. Texas breds 3 and up, and this is a first level allowance event.
Yeah, give me the 5 here in this spot. Looks like we got the same top 4 here. We don't do that very often.
Sure do.
Canyon Streak on top for me and Jim here. I like this horse. Has been on the turf 3 different times so far in his career. Has won 1, finished second in 2 of them. So not bad at all there. I mean, the most recent race was out here at Lone Star Park, going around 2 turns here on our turf course. That was an allowance race, ran second in that one, missing by 2. This horse was a winner before that, broke that maiden at the 1 mile distance down at Sam Houston, won that race by 7.5, pretty much leading it all the way around the racetrack. I like Canyon Streak here. Number 7, Mr. Moscato is going to be my second choice. You know, this horse didn't have the best race last time out. But if you take a look at the races before that, I mean, this horse had a second and a couple thirds in those races down at Sam Houston earlier this year, all of them coming on the turf. Give me the 8 second, and then I got number 6, Aussie's Wings YG as my third choice here. You know, I like this horse, trained and owned by my friend Ernesto Torres, and we were talking about before the show. He's got a handful in tomorrow in the UAE President's Cup at Pimlico, an Arabian race there. Yeah. So you don't want to miss that one. It's a pretty exciting race. I like it. But I think Aussie's Wings YG might have a shot to get up and hit the board here in a second.
I'm guessing, I think they run that race typically right after the Preakness, if I'm not mistaken. I think they run it at the end of the card. So, you know, if you follow our fall meet and you're familiar with the Arabians and some of the Arabian trainers, you might take a look after the Preakness. We're running a race after the Preakness, so if you're going to stay for the whole card, you might be here for that. Canyon Streak, I mean, there's no such thing as a sure thing in this sport. We've all seen that, but, I mean, on paper, he just towers over this group. His turf races have been great. His Beyer, or not great, but have been excellent, especially, you know, to beat this group, which is a decent group, but they're not necessarily long on winning. You know, the Beyer Figs dwarf these. He already has a race over the course, and it was a pretty good one. Silver Assassin ran a really nice race that day to beat him and had a perfect trip and took advantage of it. So, you know, I couldn't even entertain the thought of picking against him. On to the third. This one drew all older runners. They're going 5.5 furlongs. And in this one, we got 2 of them that are kind of short on the line, actually 3. The 2, 3, and 5, but we both went with the morning line choice here in baseball politics.
Yeah, you know, I like baseball politics here in this spot. This is going to be the second time this horse has gone out for trainer Abel Rodriguez. Last time out, I mean, this horse was a winner. That was at Oaklawn Park, going 5.5. You can see this horse has run 5.5 furlongs 5 different times in his career. He's hit the board 4 of those 5, 2 of them being wins. I think baseball politics has a pretty decent shot to pick up the W here in this one. I got the 2. I'm a Blinkat second. This horse has a lot of respectable finishes. Has run a lot out in New Mexico. Has that one start recently out here. Has been out here at Lone Star Park 10 different times. 40% winner right here on our track, so something to be said for that. You know, horses for courses. Also has 8 wins from 15 tries at the 5.5 furlongs as well. I'm a Blinkat, definitely one to watch here. And then I got number 3, Cinco Majestic, as my third choice. I mean, this horse was a winner last time out. If you look 3 starts back, see this horse just missed by a neck, a win before that. Those 2 that I just talked about, both of them coming at Will Rogers Downs. That most recent one, horse led it from gate to wire right here on the 27th of April, picked up the win by a head. One thing about Cinco Majestic, I think if this horse can get out there in front, you see that when this horse runs in front, usually finishes toward the front, yeah. Right? I don't see really many horses that are really going to challenge him early on, so I think Cinco Majestic might have a pretty decent run. I got a 5-2-3 in race 3.
In that last race, he was going 110 yards farther, and he really had a relatively comfortable lead for a sprint. They weren't pushing him that hard, and he did lose some ground late to Run Happy Doro and did win a head bob, the official margin ahead, but you can get head finishes that are pretty close, and that was one of those. The third place finisher in that race, he's a cool cat, just came back last week and ran a really nice second to a horse named Sharp Lorenzo. So that might be a really nice, that might be a really interesting race to watch horses come out of. But I took Cinco Majestic second. I'm on baseball politics as well. He loves to win races. He's won 5 of his last 10. The one caveat about him, even though he did win back-to-back last year at FanDuel, which I think is now going back to the name Fairmount Park because they were bought. FanDuel doesn't own them anymore as far as I know. So I kind of wish the PPs would change it back to Sportsman's Park. But nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. But nonetheless, other than those back-to-back wins, he tends not to run 2 in a row alike. His last win at Oaklawn was excellent, and that outfit is very good at keeping horses going well. So I took a chance. You know, he just loves to win races, even if he doesn't always win them back-to-back. And so I didn't try to buck the favorite in that one either. I thought about doing video for the 4th. Ultimately didn't because I'm going out on a limb. Oh, look at that. Oh, no.
No, that was last race.
Oh, I thought we were both going out on a limb. Anyway, on to the 4th. 1 mile. This is an allowance optional claimer. You can be in for $20,000 or you can be non-winners of a race other than. And I was thinking about picking or showing a video with Malibu SS and T-Bone's Trick and Heir to Greatness, who are all in the same race opening night. But I'm going to pick a long shot. So let's talk first about the horses that, you know, on paper make a little more sense, like Malibu SS.
Yeah.
Although you have my horse second. So.
I got Malibu SS on top. You know, this is a horse we've seen out at Lone Star 8 different times in his career. Has a couple wins, a second and a couple thirds as well, so it's hit the board in 5 of 8. This is one of the horses, the name just sticks in my head. You know, when I see this horse running out here, I always feel like he's going to do well in the race. Last time out, this horse was a winner in a race out here. Was in for the $20,000 tag then, went around 1 mile, won that race by half a length. Well, guess what? The horse is in for $20,000 tonight. We're going a mile once again. You know, first out for Abel Rodriguez. He probably does pretty good with first time in his barn, I imagine. 26% good. That's pretty good to me.
First off the claim.
Yeah, I think Malibu SS, I think this horse can get the job done. The 2 AP Secret, your top choice. I like this horse. I mean, this horse was in the Texas Derby back in 22.
He's favored in it. He's got back class. There's no question about that.
Ran 4th in the Wood Memorial, was in the Fountain of Youth, but it's had a lot of time off.
3 years ago.
I mean, yeah, from 22, only ran a couple races in 23. Neither one of them were very good. Only 1 time out to the track this year, so
he chased the ambulance in that one. But
big question mark there. But since you picked him on top, I'll go ahead and let you make a case for him.
I like him because, number one, the Malibu SS race last time was a fluke race, and this is why I wanted to show it, and I kind of regret, but if you have a device where you can get on and watch replays, do it. Most Saturdays who ran second in the Malibu SS race last time opened up, along with a companion, probably an 8-length lead, maybe more. In the rest of them, you can see Heir to Greatness was 17 lengths back early. T-Bone's Trick was 18 lengths back. Malibu SS was 11 lengths back, and most Saturdays came back to the pack, and everybody was closing late, but Malibu SS got by far the best trip because he was not nearly as far back. I just don't know if that sort of a race, if that shape of race can possibly repeat itself. Plus, all those horses, including Touch of Glam, who I think is really worth a look here, the 5, all of those horses love to come from way out of it. Now, at one time, AP Secret, my top pick, was pretty quick. You know, when he was favored in the Texas Derby here, that race that was won by the maiden King Ottoman, who was Echo Zulu's workmate, the champion filly Echo Zulu. He was her workmate. We didn't know that at the time, but Asmussen ran 1-2 in that Derby with 2 unheralded runners. This guy was the favorite in that race, coming out of a 4th in the Wood Memorial and a 7th, beaten about 8 lengths in the Fountain of Youth. So, obviously, he had issues. He was off the track for almost a year. He was not very good at Gulfstream in 23, and then he faded badly last time out. But that was on turf. Now he goes to dirt. I think he prefers the dirt. He's had some work since his last race at Houston. I think he might have some speed. Diego's a very cagey rider with horses like that. I think he'll have him in a good spot. So I took him. I almost took Touch of Glam. I think he, coming out of Oaklawn and a recent claim by Fincher, could really be tough. So I'm going 2-1-5-7. I didn't even put Malibu SS in there, But, I mean, his last win was nice. What are the chances you're going to get a perfect trip like that behind two just ridiculous, stretched-out leaders? I mean, he might. Malibu SS does love this track and wins a lot of races.
Well, I mean, look at those 3 races at Sam Houston this year, first, a second, a third. So,
yeah,
that's what I mean. Malibu SS to me
he's in great form.
Right there. Yeah, he's in good form.
He is. I don't mean to talk him down. I just,
but not even to include him in your top 4. That makes me a little nervous. Like, what am I missing here?
Well, I mean, I'm not coming off a very good week, so there's that to go by. On to the 5th. 3-year-olds and up non-winners of 3. This is a mile on the turf. Scratch the 5 T Kalou and scratch the 8 Royal Coach, who was my original top pick. So I scratch into Big Wave James, who, you know, I'll take the victory lap if he wins, but I'm not this race, I'm not enthusiastic about my picks necessarily.
Well, it's kind of funny that you said your Royal Coach made you scratch into this horse. I had Royal Coach too.
Yeah.
I thought the horse was going to run pretty big tonight, but you know what? I got another one, 8-1 on the line for Gabara. That's the 3 horse.
I think that could be a really good pick. I used him now second.
Yeah.
I think on the stretch out, Karen Jacks wins races with horses, you know, like this on the turf. So
yeah, and that's what I like. You know, this horse has been on the turf in all last 7 races or so. Has a win that came at Sam Houston back in January. This horse has had a lot of sprints. Now is stretching out, going around 2 turns. I think there's a lot to like about this horse. I mean, if you can overlook that last race, I mean, this horse had a couple thirds that were fairly close up. A win before that. I'll take Gabara on top here. Number 7, For a Laugh. That's going to be my second choice. You know, this horse had back-to-back second-place finishes at Turf Paradise in March and April, missing by a neck in just both of those. If you look before that, I mean, this horse was a winner at Santa Anita. Granted, that was in 2023, but it's always nice to get a win out there. A runner-up at Del Mar before that one. So the horse had some success out there on the West Coast. We'll see what happens with For a Laugh's first trip here in Texas, but I think this horse is good enough to get up and hit the board. Then I got the number 4, Zabul, as my third choice. A lot of on-the-board finishes for this horse. Has 2 wins on the turf. Yeah, I got this horse picked third, 3-7-4.
You know, that Zabul, he's one of those, he's always coming late, it seems like, and he's definitely one of those that could be firing late. He just never, for me at least, he never seems to quite get there, but he has won 2 of 21. This is a non-winner of 3 race. I'm with Big Wave James. He's got a touch of speed. There's not a bunch of speed in here. There's a little bit, but not a ton. I think maybe with a little bit of turn of foot from the inside, he might be able to be forwardly placed or on the lead. Last time out, he was in against $25,000 non-twos. He takes a little mini dip here. He set kind of a lonely pace last time and was still able to salvage second. I'm hoping today maybe he gets to relax a little on the lead. He's won on this course. It's not my most emphatic pick, but
like you said, you'll take the victory lap.
Yeah, exactly. On to race 6. $5,000 claiming fillies. These are fillies and mares who have not won a race in 2025, or they can be a non-winner of 4 lifetime.
Yeah, I'm going to take number 3, Bluebonnet Girl. Take a look. Last time out, this horse was in a stakes race at Sam Houston. It was on the turf, routing. Totally changing it. Going back to the dirt course, sprinting tonight. Hopefully, Bluebonnet Girl can do a little bit better. But if you look, I mean, this horse is running a couple stakes races this year. Has a win in an allowance race down at Sam Houston. A second going back to Remington Park last December. And then if you look before that, I mean, this horse put together back-to-back wins in that Remington meet as well. Bluebonnet Girl, I think this horse coming in here for $62.50. I think this is going to be a spot where this horse can win. So I got the horse on top. Number 2, Pattern Bet. That's going to be my second choice. This horse has a couple wins last year, toward the end of last year. Two most recent races were both at Oaklawn Park, one in February, one in April. Didn't do too hot in those, but those were at a higher level in here for the $5,000 tag today. And then number 4, Sharp Likeness, is going to be my third choice here in race number 6.
I'm going to try Trafalgar Shore. Steve Asmussen last week rocketed right to a share of the trainer's lead. And the first couple weekends, he didn't have a lot here. He ran a few horses, and He wasn't even in the standings the first 2 or 3 weeks, but he got unbelievably hot. And this horse's form was decent at Oaklawn this spring. I think this mare will like 5.5 furlongs. She's pretty quick. Doesn't have a lot of staying power, but you don't really need it going 5.5. Plus, she's taking the short way home on the inside. I'm going to take Trafalgar Shore over Bluebonnet Girl, who, let's face it, you got trainers on the inside 3 in Asmussen Diodoro and Abel Ramirez Rodriguez. You know, they're all capable, and they can all do things with horses whose form doesn't look all that great. They can spot their horses right and win. Neither Pattern Bet nor Bluebonnet Girl's coming out of, excellent races, but they're dropping. And in the case of Bluebonnet Girl, dropping quite precipitously. They spent $30,000 for her in December. They got a win out of her, but then she's been just overmatched since. I'm going with Trafalgar Shore only because I think her recent form is a little bit better than the others, but to me, those inside 3 are really well matched. And then the 4 in there as well. Race 7. Texas bred, non-winners of 2 claimers, in for $20,000. These are 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of 2.
So I got the inside horse here, Very Mischievous. 2 starts back was the maiden breaking win for this horse. That came in a sprint race right here on opening weekend. Won that race by 3.5. Followed that back up in a non-winners of 2 allowance race going 1 mile. Didn't have it that day, beaten by 13 lengths at a 6th place finish out of 7 horses. But I think this horse is ready to get back on track today. Give me the 1 on top. Then I got the 6 Flying Caesar as my second choice. Stuart Elliott rides this one for Mindy Willis. I think I saw them team up for a nice win, or almost for a nice win, last week on the horse that was cruising down the outside, ended up getting interfered with and had to be placed second. You remember that one? I text you right about that one.
Yeah, because Elliott had another horse that was cruising up the outside and got interfered with, but got elevated up to the win.
Yeah, this one just got moved to second. Yeah. But I think Flying Caesar.
That would have been a nice winner.
Yeah, it was 10-1. Yeah. I thought I was about to score there. But Flying Caesar, I think this horse can have a good race. Some respectable finishes, running, right about this level or so. I think that Flying Caesar can have a good one. And then I got number 8, Race Around. That's going to be my third pick here. This one for Zach Steinbo. Last time out, this horse was a 3rd place finisher. Won 2 starts back. Now, that was out here at Lone Star Park, but it was last year. Horse has only had 3 starts in his career. All of them coming right here. 2 last year, 1 this year. Hopefully, second back after a layoff. Race Around can have a pretty good race. I got it 1, 6, and 8 here in race 7.
Yeah, his debut win here, I don't think it was Memorial Day, but May 31st of last year, was impressionable because I think we've used him somewhere in our picks every time he's run. That was a really nice win here last year, and then he ran again right at the end of the meet and didn't do much, took a long layoff. And his 3rd back on May 30 took a lot of money. I mean, he was bet way down to 5-1, which seemed a little low, made the lead tired. He should be a lot tighter now. I used him 4th, but wouldn't be surprised if he runs a little better than that. Very Mischievous to me. Wanted absolutely no part of a mile or 2 turns last time. Today gets Ramon Vasquez, gets back to a sprint. I think it's all systems go for him. Hopefully he'll recover fine from that well-beaten effort at a mile. Road Racer is my second pick. He is a first-time gelding. Doesn't say that in the program. It says he's a gelding. It doesn't say first-time gelding. And he hasn't been out in a year, but he did debut a winner, much kind of like Race Around. Debuted a winner unheralded a year ago and then went to the shelf. If he's got any, moxie about him, he could come back well here. That maiden race he was in last year featured a 9-5 shot in 20 Cinco and a 6-5 shot in Midnight Humor, who, oddly enough, is in this race, Midnight Humor. But I'm going to try to go 1-3 in that one. On to the 8th and final. Non-winners of 2. This is an allowance event, though. A mile on the turf. No changes in this one.
Number 6, Mogo. That's my top choice here. Ramon Vasquez gets the mount today. You see the last 2 times out, this horse was up in Hot Springs at Oaklawn Park. Was a second-place finisher last time out, in for the $40,000 tag. So a pretty decent race up there in Arkansas for Mogo, running second in that one. You see this horse does have a win back in 24 at Gulfstream Park.
Yeah.
So pretty
That's
nice.
always interesting.
Yeah, pretty nice to pick up a win there.
On the grass.
It means something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Mogo, I think this horse has got a shot here. Dominant Spirit, the one, that's going to be my second choice. I mean, this horse was a stakes runner last time out. Ran fourth in that stakes race. Was beaten by 15 3/4, so a big margin there in defeat for Dominant Spirit. But this horse finished fourth. There was 9 horses in that race, so beat more than half of the field in that effort. Horse was in the Springboard Mile last year at Remington Park. Was a runner-up in the Clever Trevor Stakes up there as well. I think Dominant Spirit can have a good run. And then number 9, Big Nickel, 20-1 on the line. It's going to be my third choice. This horse was a winner 3 starts back. That was that maiden-breaking win that came at Sam Houston. The race before that was the one time that this horse has been on the turf. Finished third in that one, so getting this horse back on the turf tonight, see if Big Nickel is ready to fire.
I'm glad you mentioned him because you mentioned the one race he's been on the turf. It's not been for lack of trying. He's been entered on the turf 5 straight races. And you got to go 4 races back is the only race that they were able to run on the turf because he got rained off every other one. So he brings rain, which might not be great for the conditions tonight. But, yeah, Big Nickel brings a speed element that could be dangerous in here. We all went with Mogo. I don't know if Dave will, but Rick did, you did, and I did. You know, he puts up a 79 buyer at Oaklawn. Now, keep in mind, and it's fair to say, he ran on closing day at Oaklawn. It was a 10-horse field. He had the outside post. He ran a really nice second, going 1 mile and a 16th. Should set him up well for this, and he has proven a liking for the turf. I will say, though, Oaklawn earlier in the meet, let's say about the time our meet starts and earlier, is stronger racing than the last 2-3 weeks. A lot of people ship out or ship their A-string out to Keeneland and Churchill late in their meet. So the fields are still big. It's still Oaklawn, but it's not quite as competitive. But still, his race on closing day at Oaklawn was darn good. News at 9 merits a lot of look. He's got a lot of speed. Takes the blinkers off, which oddly enough is an 0-for-3 stat for Scott Young. Seems hard to believe with a trainer that starts a bunch of horses like he does. He obviously doesn't take the blinkers off very often. But News at 9 scares me a little bit. Sagittarius for Asmussen. Again, he's 1 for 17, but Steve was firing with horses like that last week. So good way to wrap it up. And Dominant Spirit down on the inside for Calhoun is another one to keep an eye on. You have him second, but I have him fourth. But he is very intriguing down there on the inside because he was first time blinkers last time and didn't run very well. I'm kind of surprised that they're leaving the blinkers on him because I think he ran better without him. But Brett and his staff have long forgotten more than I'll ever know about training horses. But we'll see if he goes a little better in blinkers this time. That's it. First post in 31 minutes. Don't forget, if you're wagering on the Preakness Day card tomorrow, to specify Pimlico and the race number when placing a wager. And for Rodney and I, thanks a lot for looking in, and enjoy your Friday.
In the event of an emergency, Lone Star Park is dedicated to ensuring the safety